Hello, traders. Welcome to today's event. This is Jim Simmons with Neuro Street Trading Academy and ARC AI. And in this session, we're going to be reviewing the ATR Vol Trader Algo. It's one that we released somewhat recently, maybe a few months back, I believe. And yeah, so we're doing a recap of it one more time. We're going to go over everything. Some of you traders in the room, I know you already have it, and so we're going to be looking at. Specifically today, I want it to be really kind of educational focused. Now, obviously, we've got a deal for you, and we'll give you a discount, and we'll give you links and all that stuff so that if you don't have it, you can pick it up. But I want today to be more about education on how to optimize the algo, because every algo is a little different and the optimizations are a little bit different. So we're going to be going through at least a starting point to get you started on how on earth do I keep this thing up to date so that I always have really great settings? And of course, we're going to look at a lot of settings. I'm going to walk you through the entire process here together as well. Okay, so it's going to be a really great event, and we hope you enjoy it. And thanks so much for spending your time with us again. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Okay, so of course, before we get too far, as you know, we cannot guarantee results. There's risk involved with trading, and our products and services are for educational purposes. Okay, so please understand the risks of trading, so on. All right, and let's go ahead and keep moving on then. So who's this for? Well, really, it's for traders that are looking to find a better way to use their algos. Anybody who maybe is curious about using algos, maybe you're new to algos and you're like, I think that would be a really great thing for me because I'm a human being and I have emotions and emotions suck. Or maybe you're struggling to find a winning solution. Or maybe it takes you forever to try and back test your strategies. And you're like, I wish I had a faster way to just plug in the numbers, get the optimizations done and go trade it, right? Maybe you're looking for better performance. Maybe you need a winning setup. Maybe you're brand new to trading. You don't know what you don't know. So that's who this event is for. If you already know everything, or if you have a negative mentality, the reality is we can't help you. I know it's hard, guys. I get it. It is hard. And you put some level of expectations on an algo or a trading process or a tool or whatever the case may be. I'm going to show you how to get that expectancy to get better. Okay, that's the bottom line. Now, we have some really great tools. We have traders that do really well with these tools. And then we have traders that unfortunately still struggle sometimes. And that's what we want to look to fix here today. Okay, so that's what we're after. But if you have a get rich quick, mentality, I'm sorry, it's not going to be for you. I'll just burst your bubble now. I know we would all love an algo that would just, oh my gosh, it's going to make me money hand over fist, left and right. And it doesn't work that way. It's a long game. Now, you can make money with these tools. A lot of traders do, but you're not going to get rich overnight doing it. Okay, take your time. Let's get you up to speed with making sure that you can get the most out of the algo, and then we'll move forward. Okay. Oh, another one is the blaming game, right? This is something that we all struggle with. And I think it's something that's very important to mention is that we only have so much control over, the situation, the results, right? I mean, ultimately, we're at the mercy of the markets. I get that. But we do still have to take some responsibility in the trades that we put on and where we get into the market, which way we get in, right? So the suggestion I would make is, no, not everything is your fault, and you don't need to take everything so seriously and so hard if something goes wrong. But you do need to start out in any situation, if you're struggling in anything, especially trading, look inside first. Is there something, if I lose on a trade, if I take a loss, if I take a losing day, the first thing that I do is I go back and look at it and say, is there something that I missed? Did I make a mistake? Did I do something wrong? Did I miss something, right? I'm always looking at what did I do wrong first, not, oh, it was the tools, or, oh, the market's out to get me. No, it's easy to think those things because then you can kick the can down the road. But the problem is with that is if you keep doing that, you will never get better. And if you don't get better, how could you expect to make more money? Okay, so, and that goes if you're using an algo or you're trading discretionally, it does not matter. Always look inside first and figure out if there's something that needs to be improved there first. Oftentimes, if you look at it with an objective point of view, you'll find the answer. How do I know? I learned the hard way. Okay. So what would your life look like if you could produce winning results with an algo? What would it look like if you could trade prop firms with an algo? How many of you are trading for prop firms or trading in the evals and trying to get funded? All right. So we look at how do we apply the techniques of using algos to prop trade. It comes down to risk, it comes down to reward, it comes down to managing drawdowns. All those things play a factor. Okay. So in the next hour or so, we're going to look at how ATRVolatility is changing the game, how to ditch subpar systems, create consistent trading that you can depend on, and results that prove that ATRVol algo is a better use of time and money. We have a lot of settings for you here today. I've spent some time and gone through and done some optimizations, but we're also going to show you the optimization process, because I think too often we have, software or tool, we release it and it's great, but then traders don't know 2 weeks to 4 weeks down the line what changes they need to make. Now, it's great if the tool just continues to make money week after week after week, but we all know it doesn't work like that. I wish it did. I really do. But there's some optimizations needed because markets change. There's no such thing as a black box. Okay, so that's why we have these changes that you can make so that you can keep up with the best case scenario in every situation. Okay, so what is the ATRVolatility? It is a algo trading, it's automated trading based on ATR. Okay, so we have a couple things going on here. We've got the ATR, and then we've got this band on either side. It's kind of like excursions. It's not calculated that way, though. Okay. When we get a break of the ATR, we get a trade. When we get a break going up, we get a trade. You can see how this ATR is trailing the highs in the market. Okay. There's settings for that. That'll tell the system how many ticks above and below the market, what's the period for the ATR, and then what is the size and period of the band. Okay, so we have settings for all that, which of course can be optimized. Okay, here's a retest. So this would be a retest trade. In this case, what's happening here is we are obviously below the ATR is, above the market. And so what will happen here is as we come back into this band, the market will trade off of that. Market will trade off of that. Okay. So these are the retest trades. The thoughts are on the break trades, you want to give yourself some room to run because a lot of times these will move. On the retests, quick profit. So take the money and run. Get in, get out, get in, get out, get in, get out. Okay, makes sense? So we're looking to solve the second guessing of the trades. We're looking to solve the poor trade entry, unmanageable trader emotions, over trading and revenge trading. Nobody here revenge trades. Come on. And poor money management. And we're here to work on solving these issues because we've dealt with them and we get it. And when we look at algos from our world, the reality is that we are traders that develop, not just developers, not just traders, because you can't be one or the other. You have to be both. If you're going to create tools that are extremely useful in the markets, You need to have people around who understand both sides of it. So anytime when we release an algo or a tool, just know that there's a lot of research that goes into putting something out. It's not like, hey, this is a neat idea. There's a specific problem that we're looking to solve, or something that we've seen over and over again, or something that we understand that traders need. And so that's how we develop. So we're going to look at the breakouts. We're going to look at the retest trades. The beauty of this is it's price action related. It's based on the volatility of the market. So when the market's moving, you get trades. When the market's not moving, you're not forcing trades. Right? You don't have to force trades. We can take quick scalps. It's like paradise for scalpers, right? Quick trades, quick trades. And then let's go into the next one here. Yeah, more scalps. I mean, these are like really fast. How many of you scalp the NQ? I'm going to show you some settings here today that are pretty slick, and they're very quick. Very, very quick. What about filters? You want directional filters. We've got a moving average filter, right? You want to trade just above the moving average? You can do that. It's already built in, just like any of the other algos that you've seen from us. Of course, money management. He who fails to manage the money loses his funded account. Here's it'll stop trading when you hit max daily loss or max gains or high watermarks and trails. All that stuff's built in. Optimized, back tested, so on, so on. And here's the thing. These are settings from like back when we released the algo. Okay, we're going to take a look at those settings because I think it's important to see these type of things, right? All right, so let's go ahead and jump right to the charts. I didn't want to spend a lot of time. We'll come back to the presentation here. Didn't want to spend a lot of time going through that stuff because really what I want to do is take a lot of time to go through settings, parameters, optimizing, all that stuff, because I think that's where we're going to get the most bang for our buck. Would you agree? You guys on board with that? You good with that? Nobody needs to sit here and listen to me talk about bells and whistles. We want to see the charts, right? Now, if you want me to go back to the presentation, I will. All right, here we go. So let's take a look at the system first off. Okay, here's ES. Anybody here trade AES? Yeah, probably everybody, right? So here's our chart. We've got a few days loaded here. Here's what we did today using this tool. Okay. So we'll go to the beginning of the day. It looks like we're starting out at 9 o'clock on ES on the settings. We can see our ATR. We can see the separation. We can see it breaks. And then, oh, we took a stop out. Okay. We can see it break here. And then we took profit. So there's a couple trades. This is breaks. These are break settings. There's another one breaking. There's another one breaking. You can see that the ATR is stepping, right? Stepping up, stepping up. It's based on the low of the market, stepping up based on a number of bars back. Okay. And then the band is a multiple of, yeah, we'll show you. There's another break. There's another break. There's a stop out, and there's another break for a win. And there's one more win. Okay. So that's it for today on ES. Pretty simple, right? Market's moving. Should you be trading long here? Looks good. Looks good. In this case, they ran a little bit beyond that, caught up with something and got hammered. And this one, plenty of room to work. Went out and took out some targets. Same thing here. Same thing there. You can see how the market shifts. Now, you could even use this as a directional. Yeah, of course, we'll go over settings. You can use this as a directional type of setup where you have this on an entirely different chart telling you, hey, we just broke through. Okay, now my bias is longs. Okay, we broke to the downside. Now my bias is short. You could partner this up with other things that you're doing too, right? Let's go into the settings. What do we have for settings here? So we have ATR period. I just leave it at 14. Like just leave it at 14. That's kind of the standard. ATR multiplier is set to 5. ATR band ATR period is 10. And band ATR multiplier is 5. And this is based on the optimizations that I ran before the event. We've got 2 contracts on this, 20 tick stop, 20 tick target. Some of you might only trade 1 contract, divide the numbers in half, right? This is set to trade from 9 to 4. 9 to 4. Here's my thinking on this. There's 2 ways that you can trade this. And both of the settings are decent. They're just different in their own ways. If you trade it from 9 to 4, you're going to get more trades, obviously, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a good thing. In the case of if you're trading prop firms, that sort of thing, I think it's going to be in your advantage. You'll be able to scale capital faster, and you'll be able to manage drawdowns better with more trades. Okay, so that's my thoughts. Take it or leave it. The other option is you could trade 9 to 11. If you don't want to have to be around or focused on keeping an eye on the thing. Now, obviously, you're not very actively like staring at the screens, maybe, but if you don't want to have to keep an eye on it all day, you trade it 9 to 11. It's fine. You can still get some good numbers out of it. Okay. I don't have any filters on. So there's no filters for momentum. There's no filters for moving average, nothing. It's 20 tick stop, 20 tick target. Pretty simple. It's very straightforward. And we're trading the breakouts. Okay. What about NQ? Anybody here trade MNQ? Yeah, these are Renko bars. Yep, absolutely. Let's go check out NQ. Let's go to settings first. Okay. These are retests on NQ. I like the retest on NQ. I haven't optimized the breaks on NQ. I just happen to like the retests on that. Can you trade breaks on NQ? Sure, optimize it. I'm going to show you how. Enable retests. Okay, so we've got that. 1 retest per signal break. What that means is once we break through this side, it's only going to trade the first retest. So if we were trading live, we would trade this. We would not trade this. We would not trade this. Because eventually the market's going to run out of gas, right? ATR period 14, sorry. Same as usual. ATR multiplier 5. It's the same. ATR band period 50. Why is it 50? I don't know. Just works better. Multiplier 3. This is based on what the settings were. 8 contracts on MNQ. We've got an 80 tick stop loss. Puts you around $300 in risk. And 20 tick target. Quick target. Now, with NQ, you can get away with stuff like this. I would not suggest trading a 0.25 target on, say, micro ES or something like that, because commissions are going to be, they're going to be high. But NQ, as we know, moves quite a bit. So you've got plenty of room to do 20 tick targets. And if you want to hang on and leave another one on, you can. You could, leave a couple extra contracts on, put a bigger target, trail your stops. However you want to manage it is fine. But in something like this, I'm going to highly encourage you to take some profit right away, because that's important in a scalping environment. This is also set to trade from 8 to 4. Okay. So a lot of trades, a lot of opportunities, really quick trades. The beauty of that is you can use stuff like this as almost like a hedge for your account. You think about it this way. You've got 1 contract you're trading on ES. Might get 2 to 3 trades a day, let's say, right? But then you've got your NQ going all day, and it's just trading and trading and trading. And if you take a stop out on something else, this is making money for you with quick targets to recover. So you can use this almost as like a hedge for the account. What you're doing is you're diversifying your trading with multiple instruments. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go over and look at the settings again. Oh, the Renko settings, you mean? Yeah, the Renko bars are 40, 80, 32. Yeah, 40 brick, 80 reversal, 32 offset. So yeah, so let's go into some of these trades, right? As a spoiler alert, they're all profitable. I'll just give you the spoiler alert now, right? Here's our break. First retest after the market opened, I suppose, or after this was allowed to start trading. Took that one. Break. First retest, took that one. Break right here, took the retest here. And you could see how small these trades are, like tiny, really quick profits there. Go to the next day, right in, right out, in and out, in and out. Really quick, right? Let's go forward, forward. There we go. Yeah, I mean, they're all, it's just such a quick market that you're able to take. And see, it's not trading the bounces off of these because we only have it set to trade one per direction. Could you trade more? Yeah. Could you even manually trade? Yeah. You could set up an ATM on here and just go, hey, I'm okay with trading this now. You know, once you break through the lows, let's say, you break the low and you're like, hey, I want to trade it manually a little bit too. Cool. Then you just trail your, your limit order on this line and just go, okay, I'm going to go 80 ticks with your ATM. And then you do your, 20 tick target. And there you go. You got one there. You got another one there. You got another one. You didn't get one here. Actually, you did right here. Got another one there. And when you see this starting to dip into the zone, and you're like, okay, that one's done. We need to get some separation before I consider trading this again. And you never really got it. Now there's still some trade opportunities. If you want to keep going with it, you can. Here's another one. If you wanted to trade a second round there. In this case, it started dipping into the red after that. So let's see this one. Let's go 80.25. You got target there too. So set it how you want. If you want to trade it automatically to do more than one, you can. Or if you want to just do them manually, it's very simple enough to just follow the band, So cool. So that's NQ. That's what the retests look like. Okay. So those are a couple examples here. What we're going to do, let's take a look at the settings. So this is one contract, 20 ticks. Again, 9 to 4. No filters. Got it on ES on a 5-10-4. So this is optimized for the month of July. Okay. This is optimized for the month of July. So, and I'll break down how we go over optimizations. So 1.41 profit factors, decent. Nothing wrong with that. 1250 drawdown to make 5,500. Nothing wrong with that. We're good with that one. Equity curve looks good, looks clean. We can go into net profit per day. It was pretty good for the most part. Had a losing day there, a losing day there. Funny enough, we got them toward the tail end of the month. So what you'll end up seeing is when you start to see that you've got a couple more losing days toward the end of that month, then we look at it and say, okay, maybe we need to look at optimizing again because we had a couple losing days in there, right? The settings here might be different than what we were using back here. Maybe this is no longer relevant, but there's something that changed in here, right? So that's stuff to look at. Let's go back here. You can look at it by time as well. You can see, is there any particular time that's kind of kicking us in the pants, Doesn't look like anything alarming in this case. Looks pretty decent. So there's our numbers on ES, and we'll get you these templates. We can get them loaded into the members area for you. Let's go to NQ. We only looked at it for a few days, right? So same settings that we were just looking at, 8 contracts, 80-20, 8-4, no filters, MNQ, it's on a 40, 80, 32. And again, looking at the month of July. Looks pretty good. Again, one nasty little day in there. Everything else looks pretty decent. Let's go to the curve. Whoops. Curve looks pretty good. There's our nasty drawdown, trading our way out of it. It happens. We go to the time. Is there anything that sticks out? Well, noon. Do you want to cut it off by 11:30? Here's my thoughts on this. Yes, this particular one was a drawdown, but there's only 3 trades that happened during that time. So if you take a loss in any one of these and there's only like 3 to 5 trades, it's going to look nasty. Does that mean it's always bad at that time? No, I don't think so in this case. You got to look at it objectively to determine, like, does it make sense to get rid of that time or not? If you cut this time off and only go to 11:30, that's fine. You can do that, but you're going to get a lot less trades. And the object of scalping is to get a lot of trades. You outrun profitability with volume, right? Because you're not taking a lot of profit on each trade. So you need a lot of trades. This one, 82% profitable, 1.2. In terms of commissions, this thing isn't set to calculate my commissions, even though I have it here. But you got 102 trades. Yeah, I'm going to show you. Yeah, I'll show you. Got 102 trades, so you can do the math on that. Still doing okay there. Let's go. Yeah, let's take a look at the settings compared to what they were, right? So this is, just looking at the month of July. And let's take a screenshot. Okay, so those are our settings. Let's go in now, and we're going to load the original settings that we launched with. Okay, retest. 1, 14, 5, 50 band ATR. Whoops, sorry. 3 band multiplier, 8, 80, 20, 8, 1600. It's exactly the same. I did not optimize this. You can see the dates, right? All I did was I pulled this up and I went, okay, well, let's look at it, see if it's relevant. Go to, at the time, it was July 31st, and I ran the test, and that's what came back. Is that going to like make you jump up and down, leap for joy? Oh my gosh, what a great setting. I don't know. Decent. $1,200. Yeah, it's nothing to get too excited about. These are the original settings. I did not optimize these. In the case of ES, the only thing that I optimized was the stop target and the bands, which we're going to look at together. Okay, so that one is optimized. NQ, I did not optimize at all. Should you optimize it? Yeah, probably should. It's been 3 months. Definitely needs to get optimized. Okay. How many of you here trade crude oil? Yes, I'm going to do that right now. How many of you trade crude oil? Anybody here a crude trader? I do fancy me some crude trading. I like trading crude. So when we launched this product, we did not have settings for crude. None whatsoever. Okay. We do now. Let's see. I've got so many of these back tests all over my screen. So bear with me here. I'm going to pull them all up so I know what's what. And we could probably get rid of some at this point because I need to shore up my screen space here. All right. So this one is break signals on ES. We'll leave that around. This one has been optimized at 5,500. That one's good to go. This is our NQ. I'm going to go ahead and close this out because we got what we need there. What else do I got here? That one. Okay. I should have named him on the tab. Like that would have been a really smart thing to do. Oh, here's what I wanted to show too. So what were the settings like? This is always fun, right? We release a product, we put settings out, and then, you know, we always wonder, well, how are people doing with it? Like, how's it going? You know, do they optimize? Do they need to? So I just ran the exact settings from the launch for 1 month, just to see, like, because if you're trading it beyond a month, that's probably not the right thing to do. And here's what we came up with. Is it the prettiest thing in the world? No, it's decent. 1650, 1350 drawdown. Okay. 80% profitable. This one was retest. This is like the, you know, kind of looking at more like the, looking at more like the scalpers approach. So there was that one. The one that I like better, as I mentioned on ES, is the breakouts on ES. I think if you're going to trade the retests, I'm going to suggest doing it on NQ, because you can scalp NQ a lot easier, I think. So that's just my take on it. Take it or leave it. We're going to come back to this in a minute, but I'm going to put it here. Where's the other ES? I think it's this one. Okay, so how did the breaks do off of the launch? Ran it for a month, 5.8 to 6.2, based on after these settings were set up through the May 5th, I believe. All right, 72% profitable, 1.4 profit factor. Looks good. Nothing alarming there. Looks good. You know, max 300 loss and then 150 on the profit. So it's 0.5 targets on this setting, I guess. Yeah, 12 ticks, 6 ticks. That's how they had it set. This was based on the break signals. So you could see I changed this, I changed this, I changed that, and then I changed profit and target. I think I might have changed the time a little bit too. Everything else is the same. So yeah, so the settings did really well. So that just, you know, sort of validates and verifies that, okay, this is a decent tool. We can do something here. Okay. All right, let's take a look at crude oil. So first I want to show you the end result. This is the end result. We got 4,800, we got a 2.12 profit. I ran this through July 21st. There's a very specific reason I did that. 2.12, let's take a look at the curve. Looks good. Looks really clean. Looks really good. Let's go check the time of day. Looks pretty clean across the board. Not a lot of, you know, time trading. We're going 7:30 to 11. I'm sure you could start at 9 just the same and do pretty well with these settings if you don't like trading pre-market. Daily looks pretty good. Took a loser there. Some smaller losing days here. Let's do this though, because I think, oh no, it is set right. Okay. Interesting. Cool enough. I've got this on a 7.14.5 on crude. And I didn't optimize that. I just used these bar settings because that's usually what we use. And I just optimized for this chart. Okay. So what did I do here? I start with 4 weeks. 4 weeks is my goal in optimizing this. And then let's see if there's anything else we really need to look at. I don't think there is. I mean, you can see the chart, what it looks like. So here's the process. I've got a little document here that I put together. And we're going to go through this together here. Okay, so here's our results. That's what we got on the optimization. Okay. Yes, you will all get the templates. Absolutely. Most definitely. I didn't do all that work just for me. Heck no. No, I want you guys to have it. So the question is not, what did the back test do? The question is, what would it have done the following week? because last I checked, you can't trade in the past. If you figure out how to do that, then you need to have a sit down with me and we need to have a very serious talk because I need to know how. But I haven't figured it out yet. So what I did here is I just ran this from the 24th through the 28th for 1 week and wanted to see the results. Basically broke even. Okay, let's go look at it. Okay, couple small down days, a down day, and then a couple winning days. 300, next negative 60, down 300, up 300. Is it terrible? No. Welcome to trading. Like the thing is about algos too, is you got to remember is it's a long game. You're not looking to just cash in every day. It depends on the settings you're using though. If you do that with the NQ, you might be able to do that, but there's a place for each. Just determining what works best for you. Okay, so that's what it did the week after. So, you know, it's okay. Would I optimize again after this week? Yes, I would. Absolutely, I would. Because I would want to know that everything's still up to what I want it to be. Okay, let's go back here. Where's my other settings are somewhere here. Yes. Let's move this to the other screen. Crude oil. Here we go. There it is. Okay. So these are the settings. So let's go through what the settings are first. Do you want to trade breaks or do you want to trade retests or do you want to trade both? Test them separately. Test them separately. Okay. And then once you've got good settings on both, then you bring them together. Always do everything separately. Always. You want to test for multiple positions? Great. Test them separately. Don't test them together. Because how do you know that one's better than the other unless you look at it? So always test them separately. Just put one contract on to start with. I just put standard settings in here to start with. And then let's go through the process of what to optimize and when. So we've got some settings that we're looking to optimize. The ATR period, I just leave it. Leave it at 14. It's kind of the standard, right? ATR multiplier, 5. Band ATR period, 5. Band ATR multiplier, 1. Let's go take a look at it on the chart. What does that look like? It looks like this. Do you want a wider band? I don't know. Really, we're just trading the breaks, so I don't know. But I optimized it anyway, just because, frankly, I wasn't vastly intimate with how the tool works. I just decided, oh, let me just optimize them anyway, because I don't know. So here's what I did. ATR multiplier. I've got a little cheat sheet here for us. This is ATR vol specific. This is not any other algo. It's based on this algo, right? Every algo is different. So ATR period, do not optimize. Keep it at 14. ATR multiplier, I gave you the thresholds, 1 to 10. And then you optimize it by ones. Band ATR period, 5 to 14, optimized by ones. Band ATR multiplier, 1 to 10 by 1. The first test, now that we have settings, the first test you want to do is this. Don't change stops and targets when you're running this test. It'll take forever. Don't do it. It's a waste of time. Do this. Then when this is done, save those settings. Then you can go through and re-optimize stops and targets if you need to. But stops and targets, you don't want to go through and optimize all the time. You do not want to optimize that too much. What you'll end up with is something that's like way too optimized for the time frame that it was trading on. You want something that is consistent, not something that's going to be, oh my gosh, look at this amazing back test. The better the back test, the more nervous I get when I'm optimizing, because I'm like, is that sustainable? Is it consistent? I don't want a month that's like, holy smokes, we made 5,000 that month on the back test. And then in real life, you actually lost 5,000, right? You want something that's steady. Make 1,000, make 2,000, make 1,500. You don't want something that's all over the map because then you just go nuts. So look for consistency. All right. So how do you how do you start? What's the process? With filters, let's break down each section first. Filters. Look at the chart. Go in and look at your trades. What does the market look like? Zoom out, go all the way to the beginning, and just start looking at your trades. Did this trade work out? Yeah. Does it look clean? Yeah. Did it have momentum? Yeah. What about this one? Did it have momentum? Yeah, worked out. What about this one? Momentum. Look at momentum. Add an EMA to the chart if you need to. What about this one? Momentum was on our side. Momentum was on our side. Everything looks good. Let's go to the next day. Good looking trade. What about this one? Does it look good? I think so. I think it looks fine. Technically, structure hadn't broken yet. Nothing had really changed, but it didn't really on these others either. So I don't see any issue. It's just a stop out. You're not going to win them all. This one, however, I'm not crazy about because you're trading back into the highs, but that's not something an algo is going to decipher. So is there any way to filter this trade at the high? I don't know. We could look at setting a higher number so that it trails, but then you're going to take the trade later. And then you're going to skip out on this trade if you trade later. But then you're also going to miss some of the other trade entries. So this one would have gotten in up here, and then it's sitting through chop. And then if you expand it out, then your entries are going to be later on every single trade. And do you want to enter later on that one? Nope, because you barely hit target. What about that one? I would almost say you'd want to enter earlier on some of these. So go in and look at the trades. Do you want to enter sooner? Do you want to enter later? Are you entering too late? This one got stopped out going long. This one on the short worked. This one on the long worked though. So there's really nothing here that's all that puzzling or alarming or anything that suggests like, I really need to add a filter here. It looks pretty good. The band, or I mean, the ATR multiplier is going to be the one that is going to kind of set the time. Yeah, looks pretty good, right? So that's fine. Let's go back to our cheat sheet here. So look at the chart first and determine, is it necessary to filter out some trades? Should you be, basing that on momentum or confluence, or should you add an EMA? Look at the chart first before you start back testing, because what'll happen is you'll run back tests for hours on end and you won't get anywhere. And then you're just going to get even more frustrated because you spent all that time doing that for nothing. Simpler is better. When it comes to time, here's my suggestion. Run the test, get some optimizations done, but always start wide first and then narrow it down. So let's say you want to re-optimize these settings and you go, okay, I want to see, does it make sense to change some of this? What you want to do is go to half hour of day and you want to start by entry time. Always pick entry time, because exit time, who cares? I don't care when it exits. This one is set 7:30 to 11. Looks good. Is any of these times like a sore thumb? Like if the first two are negative all the time, then obviously we have our answer. You start at 8:30. Okay. So always start wide and then narrow it down, because it's better to have the data and know what works and then filter it down. Money management is entirely up to you as a trader. You need to decide what you want for money management. I would almost suggest optimizing with your money management parameters in place versus optimizing for money management. That's just my thoughts on it, but maybe there's a better way. Whatever works for you. There's no wrong answer here, but that's just my thoughts. Stops and targets. Start wide and then narrow. You notice a theme here. Why would you do this? And always test this last, always separately than anything else you test. Because if you're testing stops and targets and all of this stuff, it's going to take you like 12 hours to run a test. And then what you're going to end up with something is, something that's so fine-tuned that you run it the next week and it's garbage, because it's based on the times that you were testing it on, not based on real life scenarios. So don't over optimize is the name of the game. All right. So and then testing period is 4 weeks is the goal. You can do less. You can do more if you feel like you need to. Some of them you won't even need 4 weeks. Like if you're testing order flow or you've got a ton of trades or something, you might not need that much. Okay. So when we talk about stops and targets starting wide, why would you want to do that? And the answer is, if I start with a 10 tick stop and a 10 tick profit target, how do I know that there's more room to run with my winners? I don't, because I don't have the data. How do I know my stops are too tight or too loose? I don't, because I don't have enough data. So what we do, this is what I suggest, start wide. So if I'm using CL, which is a 714.5, what I'll do is I'll set the stop to like 28, which is twice the reversal size of the bar. And I'll start my target at 28. I'll just do 1-to-1s. And then I'll run a test based on 3 months of data. Didn't you just say run it for 4 weeks? Yes. I will run 3 months of data for only stop loss and profit target. And I'll optimize for that first. No filters, no settings. I'm going to use like ultra generic settings, like ultra generic. I don't want 3 months to be my optimization, because that's too long of a period. What happened 3 months ago is not necessarily what's happening today, but it'll give me some insight as to what the range of the stop and target need to be. So we start wide with like 28 and 28. And then what we do is we go into the results and just look at them. Let's go to trades. Okay, now we got all these trades in here. What I do, click this, MAE, max adverse excursion. What that means is how much, and I'm going to do this by ticks. So you could see how many ticks it went against you. How many ticks did this go against us before we took profit? Okay, so it'll go, we've got some at 23, we've got one at 22, 20, 17. So it looks like there's not a lot that went more than like 17, 18 against us before they went and hit target. Most of them are like 17 or less. So in this case, we could probably get by with a tighter stop, because what we're doing, remember, we're start wide and then narrow it down based on what we're seeing. If there's not a lot of trades that went like 20 ticks against us before hitting profit, then we know, okay, it makes sense to tighten up the stop a little bit, because I don't need to give it that much room to run. So that would become, the number would be something like 18, you see. Now we would do that on the other side. Max favorable before it went and hit the stop. Really, the ones that got stopped out didn't go very far in our favor before they went against us. So in this case, this helps us know, okay, the stops are too loose. Odds are, if this was the example. I've already optimized this, but in this case, you would have, if this was what we're looking at, we've got some room to probably tighten up the stop on this one. Because we don't have, this is our max favorable for our stop outs. It doesn't make sense for us to pull our target into like 8 ticks, because then we're going to leave all this money on the table. But in this case, we could probably tighten up our stop. Let's go back the other way again and just see if there's anything else that we need to see here. Go to max adverse. Oops. I mean, in this case, we don't have a wide target, so it's hard to use this as an example. It's 18 and 24 are the settings, obviously. So that's how you start with your stops and targets. Okay, you just want to get the data first. Whenever you're testing stop loss and targets, you always want to test based on net profit. So you want to go in here to the optimization and change it to net profit. And we're going to go through the process together too, just so you can see it in action. Once you have your starting point for the take profit and your stop loss, that gets you your starting point. Let's say we're just going to use generic numbers. Let's say it's 24 and 24. Those are your numbers. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to now narrow it down to the most recent 4 weeks, and you want to test your parameters. You want to test the things in the algo that you need to test without filters, no filters still. So in the case of ATRVol, we would test these 3. So we would go into optimization, and I'm going to pull up an example, load. So this was my starting point. I just used this to start with. I went in, and I've got my time, 3 months worth of data. I went in and I put wide profit, wide stops. Okay, that was my starting point. Once I got done with the starting point, then I go in and I test the stop loss and profit targets. Now I've got my, this is how I saved it because I got my numbers I was looking for. Then I go in and I optimize for the settings. Okay, so I would go in and do this one. So here's the optimizer for the settings. And I did 1 to 10 here, 5 to 14, 1 to 10, right? That's what's on the cheat sheet. I just put these in there. Now, in this case, it gave me 1,000 iterations. It took me about 30 minutes to test that. Tested it for 4 weeks, right? Once I'm done with that, then I go in and I look at the chart. And I'm going to see, again, does it make sense for me to add filters here? I'm going to go in and look at some of the stops. Am I getting a lot of stop outs? If so, how am I getting them? This trade looks great. No need to filter. This trade looks great too. It's just trading into the low. Algo doesn't know that. But this one looks fantastic. Just go in and look at your trades. Do you need to add a filter? If you've got decent settings, then you don't need to add a filter. It's really that simple. Like, don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Then if you need to optimize for filters, then you would go in here and you would go, okay, let's go to our moving average. Require true, obviously. And you're going to start with the period. And you'll probably go somewhere between 5 and 20. And just go by 1 and just test that one thing. And in this case, you might test based on profit factor. If that's more important to you, you test that on profit factor. If you find out that there's really no advantage to having that, it's just filtering out good trades, then you leave it set to false. What you don't want to happen is that you have a really great profit factor, but you have no trades. And so your money is actually lower than what you had filtered out, right? Like, you don't want to have, if our numbers are $5,000 in profit and we've got a 2.0, and then we add the moving average filter and we've got 2,000 in profit with a 4.0, which one's better? So you look at the drawdown. Maybe the drawdown here is 1,500 and maybe the drawdown here is, 500. Look at the ratio. This is like 3.5 to 1. This is 4 to 1. drawdown compared to profit. So does it make sense to filter that? No, because you're leaving money on the table at that point. So don't do that. So in this case, we don't need to add filters. It looks good. Just leave it. Take the trades. Then once you've done all that, then we go back in here, right? So we've got our settings. Take profit, stop losses done. We've already optimized that. We've optimized the settings. Now we've optimized the target and the stop again. And in this case, I start with my 18 and 24, and I just expand it out. And I wanted to keep it within 24, so I just did it that way, 12 to 24, 16 to 24. And I always, when you're optimizing stops and targets, optimize based on net profit. Because what you'll end up doing is you'll get a really killer profit factor and no trades because, anyway, just it comes down to money. Then you can go in and look at, like, what's your win percentage? What are your drawdowns? What are your, profit ratios? You can look at it for each one. Okay, now that that is all done, then you go in and you save it. And this is the settings that we got. 14.5.5.1. We did 24, 18, and then the time, when we looked at the time, it was 7:30 to 11. We'll go in and load it again just to make sure. Yeah, looks good. And that's how we got the settings for crude. That's it. That's all you have to do. Took maybe an hour, hour and a half. And this is something that's never traded on. We've never traded this on crude. These are the first times we've had settings. Does that make sense? What questions do you guys have? Everybody understand everything? Good to go? All makes sense? Good. I'm glad. Very cool. Yeah, I can get these out to you. Of course, the manual is available if you want to read more about, ATR look back period. This is something I wanted to touch on, because it was a little confusing when I looked at it first. I'm like, well, what does this one do? What does that one do? It wasn't like inherent just by looking at the title. So ATR multiplier is the multiple that would be applied to calculate the ATR for the trailing stop. Look back period is number of bars. Look back to get there's your ATR period, right? So that's your ATR period is the number of bars, and makes sense. ATR multiplier is the multiple that'll be applied to calculate ATR for the purpose of setting the trail. So if you had ATR normal, it would look like something like that, right? This would be shifted up. So this is telling it how far off the bars to go is what that's doing. Okay. And then on the rest of it, so we've got pullback trend signals, first touch signal frequency, distance and width. So yeah, this is actually for pullback trades only. So I optimized it for nothing. So you don't need to do that. This is only for the pullbacks, which I suspected was probably the case. Distance to the trail stop, ATR multiplier, width of the volatility is determined by the ATR multiplier. Oh, here we go. Here they are. There's the details on what these are. There's your max retest. If you're trading retests, then that's the number you use. ATR period is the number of bars look back to calculate the band width. And then the multiplier applied to calculate the band ATR for setting the width of the volatility band. Yeah. Here's your settings. Trade them. Here's your cheat sheet. I'll get this too. We'll probably make it look a little prettier and then add this to the members area too. So you have something to do. So let's do this. I'm just going to add this in here. So we just fix this once and for all. Retest signals. There you go. Cool. I think we got it. I think we're all good. So what were our numbers? I wish we could. He's asking about automatically readjusting ATR. I wish there was like some AI that was able to do that, but as far as I know, I don't know of anything yet. I'm sure someday. Our team's pretty smart. Maybe they'll come up with it someday. I don't know. But yeah, these are the settings on crude. You know, they've been a little bit flat since then. You're going to want to re-optimize. So what we can do here is you would go to July 28th, and then you'd go to, in this case, you'd want to go to July 5th because there was a holiday, if you remember. So don't test the holidays. Let's see how it did, and then we can go in and optimize it together real quick. Let's see what it looks like since we have time. While we're waiting on that, yeah, there we go. 1.67, not terrible. Analysis, time still looks pretty good. Let's go to daily. Couple losers in there more recently than normal. Let's go back to dollars and cents. Nothing crazy though. Not any major losing days. Yes, they're losing days, but they're not bigger than our biggest winning days. So it's not a huge concern to me. Summary, everything looks decent enough. Drawdown looks fine. That's fine. We could go in and let's go to optimization. 14,551. You know, we could optimize this 1 to 10. We'll leave stops and targets alone. We're going to leave the time alone. We're not adding any filters. We're not doing any of that stuff. 7.5 to 728. Cool. Run. Max profit factor is fine because we're testing settings. So it's going to run 10 back tests for us right now. And then it's going to give us the settings. So I'll let that run for a minute here. It'll take a minute or two. And then let's go over the offer. So it's 7:48. We're reopening launch pricing. So pretty straightforward there. All good. As far as the link, it's just right here. You just go right to the site. It's already on sale. It's ready for you to buy it. There's the link. Just add it to your cart. That is good through Sunday. Got access through Sunday the 6th. And I will get all these settings over to the team right now as soon as we finish this event so that they will load them into the downloads area for you. Okay, so give it about a day, but they'll get it in there. Okay. Feel free to type any questions that you have as they come up. Here's our backtest results. Did anything change? No, it's exactly the same as it was. Now, let's say you really are dying to test the stops and targets. First thing you want to do, change this back to 5s because we don't need to optimize that again. Go in here. We can do like 16 to 28. If you want to do it by 2s, you can. It'll give you less iterations. And we'll do 16 to 28 here. It's probably going to give us a good number of tests, actually. Let's see. 169. That's not terrible. We can tolerate that. That'll take a couple minutes. So easy enough. What questions do you have? Nothing? No questions? Pretty straightforward. How many of you enjoyed this type of training as part of, I know this is more of a webinar, but how many of you got some value out of that optimization training session? Like without going deep and broad into like, this is only this algo. Like we're not looking at all the other stuff, right? Good. How many of you own other algos and would want to get optimization parameters for other algos? Right? Like if we did this, because I do this, how many of you are familiar with VWAPR? How many of you use VWAPR? Anybody here using VWAPR? Yeah. I've been doing this way for VWAPR as long as I can remember. And as long as I can remember, I have yet to build an optimization that didn't profit the following week, or at least get very close to break even. Because once you have your chart and you have sort of like your standard settings, it's easy. It's just a matter of doing it every week. You just do it every week on Friday. You just go through and re-optimize. And is there anything that needs to change? And just do it once a week. And that's it. And so once you have your, your settings and all that stuff like nailed down, then you kind of know what you're doing. Here's another thing too. This is actually very important. Please take note of this. When you optimize each week, you must keep records of your optimizations. Because, and not just on the settings, like in a separate document, keep record of what your optimizations were each week. Make a spreadsheet and just go, okay, here's this setting 1, setting 2, setting 3, name them, obviously, but then put, okay, this week ATR multiplier was 10. This week it was 5. This week it was 10. This week it was 10. This week it was 5. This week it was 10. This week it was 10. What do you think your standard settings are going to become? Because what'll happen is you'll go back and look at this week and be like, was it really that much of a difference maker? If not, then you stop optimizing that and you keep it set at 10, right? And so you start to see things, the patterns of it, like what works and what doesn't. And when you optimize certain things, it's a disaster. And then when you optimize others, it's like, oh, this is great. So, yeah, I think that one, Neville, will be fantastic once it's optimized or they do the updates, because adding structure into it is a game changer. There's other algos that adding structure into those algos is going to be a freaking game changer. I'm just telling you right now. Like, I begged the team, begged them, can you please program structure into these things? Because I promise you it will make a massive difference. So they did it. Because they like me? No. Because Sean told them to. Yeah, we should have webinars on with optimizations. I think we're going to do that more often, for sure. Yeah, we'll do that on each one. Cool. All right, let's see. Did we get our test back? Not that one. I'm just going to go ahead and close this out. We don't need this one. We don't need this one anymore. Where's the other one? Here it is. Okay. So what did we come back with? You can just hover here. We've got a 28 stop loss. And we've got a 21 target. So the only thing that happened is it expanded out a little bit for stop and target. So let's go with it. Now we're going to compare. Don't just take the first one because it shows the most money. Look at the other ones. This one clearly is the same because this loss and profits are the same. So don't bother. This one, and you could look at it like, what are these numbers? 28 and 19. Well, okay, we'll just keep it. This one, 24 and 19. This one is 28 and 20. So they're all pretty close to that. What you want to look at is profit factor, and you're going to look at max drawdown. Is there any max drawdown that's way better? This one's really good. Not quite as much profit, but the profit factor is very similar. This one is a 23 stop and 19 target, which is a lot closer to what we already had. I'd be more inclined to go with this one, even though it's a little bit less money, because it's closer to what I originally had. I don't want to optimize something that's like way different than what I was doing, because then you're going to get those big swings. So in this case, I'm just going to go with this one, just bump it out one tick and then tighten up the stop by one, which we already saw was probably a good idea anyway. So we can go in here and now let's go to back test, and it was 19 and 23. So we just go 23 and 19. And if you don't have them, you just hover back here and you can see it again, 23, 19. Okay, yeah, that matches. And then what I would do, just to be extra sure, we're going to run it first, and then we'll save these settings as the optimization for the 28th. Now you saw it only took me like 10 minutes to do this because there's only really like one setting I need to adjust. So we're going to save this and we're going to put crude 728, and I'll do all capitals so it's a little easier to see. It's on a 714.5. Okay, save it. And let's go in and look at the, looks good. Let's go and look at the curve. There it is, looks great. All right, what have you done for me lately? Let's go see. So now this is the settings we would run for this week. We're about even. Oh my gosh, the sky is falling. It's the end of the world. No, it's just look at it. All right. Clearly there's something going on at the open that caught it up a little bit. Maybe there was some news that we needed to avoid. Maybe, I mean, this is crude, so we've got crude oil inventory on Wednesday. Apparently that was a good thing for us. I don't know. Maybe not. Let's go to trades. Let's take a look at the time. What happened at 10:30 and 10:43 yesterday? Crude oil inventory. So you'd probably skip these two trades anyway. So you would have saved yourself 40 bucks in losses by filtering that out. Otherwise, everything looks fine. So pretty even for the week, 1 day left. But that's the idea behind optimization, and that's how to get the numbers. And, you know, this is just an example on crude. Obviously, you're going to want to do this on ES and NQ and whatever else you might want to trade. And then you could trade them all. Just trade small size on each, let them do their thing and use them as like hedging, because if they're all profitable in the long run, then the more that you run, the better your performance is going to be on a steady basis. Make sense? Cool. There you go. Paste the link in here again. If you don't have it, go buy it. If you need any, additional help with installs, any of that, reach out to support. We will absolutely help you install whatever you need. All good. We got you covered. I wish. Yeah, I agree, John. That would be awesome. He's saying the ultimate bot would be to have it optimized as it's running in real time. But the problem is, I think it would probably end up over optimizing, and then it would be like kind of chasing a tail. It'd be like a snake eating its own tail, you know? Yeah, this is recorded. We'll get you the recording. You can watch it as much as you need to. And we can even maybe look at posting it in the threads in Discord so you have it. We'll post these settings. I'll probably just go post them in Discord right now. So that way nobody has to worry about going in and downloading. They'll just post them right now. Okay. Good stuff. Cool. Traders, have a fantastic weekend. We will see you all Monday. Those of you that are in the trade room with me on Monday, we'll be there. We'll get it done. We'll get after it. If you need any other help, they'll reach out, and we're happy to help out. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend. We'll catch you next time. Cheers, everybody. Take care.